Hi everyone, it's Laurel here, and this may turn out to be a series of videos, but I had been asked to do a video or two, or at least a tutorial on utilizing the Big Shot or Big Kick Sizzix machine, and specifically how do you use, what layers for the sandwich do you utilize for different mediums. So I wanted to take a minute and just go over the machine, what comes with it, and what I have found works well depending on what type of dies you're using. So and I'm only going to speak from my experience. There are a lot of fantastic tutorials out there that will, speak to other specifics and so forth, but a lot of you may have what I have. And I'm going to try and set it down here. And forgive the camera angle. But this is the Sizzix Big Kick Machine. Mine is the old style. It's red and white. Basically, it's a platform, and there's a roller underneath here. There's a crank, and it's a manually cranked machine. To utilize it with certain kinds of dies, you have to create what is known as a sandwich, and that's predominantly what we're going to go over. When you buy your machine, I digress. There is one other thing to mention. The Big Kick machine, the one that I have, it's still commercially available. You can find it in, say, Michael's or probably Hobby Lobby, definitely AC Moore. Was the original machine in this size. There are many Sizzix machines. There is the original Sizzix machine, which was smaller, which was not a so much of a roller, but it was like more of a mechanism that you pulled. That was for like original size Sizzix dies. There is a machine called a Sidekick, like a tabletop little mini machine. I picked this one up at a yard sale for $5. It's great to do it for doing Sizzlets dies and things that are just that small. It's probably got maybe a 2.5 inch opening there. So, and the Big Kick was the original machine. There since is another machine called a Big Shot. Stampin' Up sells it. Most of the other manual machines of this size are now going to be referred to as the Big Shot. Here's a tip for you. They all come with kind of the same components. The Big Shot is black, that one I've seen from Stampin' Up. They all come with plates. They all come with the MultiPurpose Platform. There are electric versions, like Tim Holtz now has out his Vagabond, which looks like a suitcase. That's an electric version, but it's it's the same components. The roller, either manual or electrically operated. To be honest, I like the manual version the best thus far. I'm a Cricut user as well. So anything that I need for, that to electronically cut, I can do so over there. But this size has the ability to take basically any manufacturer's embossing folders or dies, because it has the largest platform. So you could do a Sizzlet in here. You could do a Biggs die in here. You could use Spellbinders, Nestabilities dies in here. You could use Cuttlebug, you could use original Sizzix dies. I haven't found one that does not fit. In some cases, you do need extending cutting mats because, the dies are huge, but they're readily available. So for our purposes, I'm going to show you what you get with the machine when you buy a Sizzix Big Kick or a Big Shot machine. If you buy the entire kit, like for example, This one still retails at AC Moore for $99.99 to $100. You can use a 50% off coupon and pick it up for $40 or for $50, and then if you have additional bonus bucks and things, of course that comes off the price. You know, for 50 bucks, I thought that's exactly how I bought mine. I think originally when I got it, I paid $30 and I got the machine, which is this base unit. It comes with something called a multi-purpose platform. So basically, I'm going to show you the side view. This is a hard acrylic piece. There are a couple of tabs on top of it that create shims. So this is not a cutting surface. This portion of the multi-purpose platform is to be used with things like Sizzix texture plates or maybe a brass embossing folder. Sometimes you need additional pads to get certain impressions, and with Sizzix they're called impressions pads. With say Stampin' Up, it's a crease pad, I've heard it referred to. Okay, so that's the base. Then there's another tab. This is tab number 1. So it's not, it's thin, but it's made of plastic. On this tab, you would be able to cut things like sizzlets, embosslets, simple impressions embossing folders, texture pads, metal stencils that are like a single layer. Okay, so that's that first tab. On the second tab, you would use like a wafer thin die and your paper. Not using tab 2 too much. This is basically nothing but is a big spacer. Okay, to take the smaller media, like this is a sizzlet, small, and then after you create your sandwich, to make it fit into the machine. Okay, so this comes with the Big Shot or the Big Kick machine. Additionally, you're going to get a set of cutting plates. There too, they're acrylic. Mine are very well loved. You can see that, I've used it a lot. You'll see also that this, after a certain amount of time bends. I've had this machine probably for 2 years. This is my original set of pads. They work just fine. If you need a new set for whatever reason, I used to be very fastidious and wanted to keep one completely clear and one would take the brunt of the cutting. I think they're, about 10 bucks for the set of 2. So that's probably the only thing that you're really going to need to replace. Okay, so those 2 cutting pads, the multi-purpose platform, and the machine is what you get in the kit, regardless of where you buy it. So I mentioned briefly the types of things that it cuts. Okay, well, let's take a look at them. A Tim Holtz alteration die is what is known as a Biggs with a Z die. It's put out by Sizzix. This one happens to be the Heart Wings pattern. Stampin' Up! Also has Biggs style dies. Sizzix has Big style dies. These are a little bit wider, and they're pretty fat. You do not need to use your multi-cutting purpose platform with these dies because they're the same thickness as the base. So when you're utilizing these, it's going to be an acrylic plate, your Biggs die, your piece of paper, your other acrylic plate, there's your sandwich you're running it through. That's it. No multi-purpose platform. Okay? There are also, there's many types of dies on the market. Many. Here's a small stack of some of them. I'm just going to go through the types of things you can cut. This is an old Provocraft. This is actually was under the Cuttlebug line. This is bigger than a Sizzlet die. Okay, here's a Sizzlet die. Here's the Cuttlebug one. It fits, no problem. This is just a cut. This is a Sizzlet die. This happens to be a Stampin' Up! One. This is of buttons. This is a Sizzix standard die. Pretty fat, but it's you know, it's small, so you could put several. This happens to be a birthday cake, so I just wanted to show you that they did come in, you know, many sizes. Your alphabet dies that you buy in a big package, you know, they're actually smaller than this, to give you an idea, and they look probably in between the thickness of this and this. Okay, this is a Sizzix original, kind of the precursor to the bigs in the size. This is a Christmas tree or a pine tree. Okay, not quite as big as a bigs die. Let me show you one here. But almost, you know, but definitely the same thickness. So from this came this. Okay. And then the last thing, you know, is one of my most favorite things are embossing folders. You know, Cuttlebug has fantastic ones out. Sizzix has great ones out. Stampin' Up! Is now selling them. You know, that's just the merchandisers that I can think of. They come in strips, so you could do, say, the edge of a card or, you know, a small piece of paper. But most of them are kind of this, you know, 4 1/4 by 6 size, so you could get a card front inside there. And hopefully I'll have enough time to, you know, maybe in part 2 to show you. The other thing that you can use here, this is a simple impressions die. It's brass. It comes in a plastic folder. This is a small one, actually. This is Swirls. I got this for free with a purchase from, I honestly don't remember. And the good thing is, on the back, it tells you how to utilize the folder, the die itself, where to position it, and, you know, what you need. You can see, like, that's the old Sizzix machine. You see what I was saying? How it was just like it didn't necessarily roll, and it had a converter. Things have improved a bit, but these are still good. You can still use them. Here's a Bigs die from Stampin' Up! It's got a clear back. This is a scallop square. It's got the hole so you can punch out your paper. You know, I don't know if you can see it, but that's the tooth of the metal die in there, creating that scallop. So, I mean, they come in many shapes and sizes. Here's another one that I wanted to show you. Okay, Spellbinders. Spellbinders are the originators of the Nestabilities dies. These are an excellent value. Some of your retailers are now selling them. When you buy this, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, 6 or 7 or sometimes 5. It depends on the pattern. But this is the die. So that's my scallop circle. It's probably 3 inches. They retail for about $25. You can pick them one up with a coupon, you know, for half price. Definitely worth it. You get a lot of sizes for your money. What I like about these guys is not only do they cut, but they emboss. You see that edge? It does take 2 passes through to do that, but you know, it works out well. Storage is also pretty easy. What I have my dies on, this is a piece of craft magnet, and I just have it layered in between 2 pieces of craft magnet. I stick it in a binder. You know, I'm not overly fussed about, you know, seeing it. I only have a handful of these guys. Spellbinders their machine is completely different. It's more of a ratchet system. It's called the Wizard. This is the magnetic spacer plate that they recommend usage. So what you would do is you'd plop your dies on here. Sometimes you need to shim your paper on top, create a sandwich, and run it through. It works just fine in the Big Shot machine. So that's those.